In 2025, cannabis is legal in more places than ever before. But what does legalization really mean if thousands are still incarcerated for the same plant? In 2025, 24 states have legalized the recreational use of cannabis. Through the first quarter of 2024, states have reported a combined total of more than $20 billion in tax revenue from legal, adult-use cannabis sales. In 2023 alone, legalization states generated more than $4 billion in cannabis tax revenue from adult-use sales, which is the most revenue generated by cannabis sales in a single year. In addition to revenue generated for statewide budgets, cities and towns have also generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in new revenue from local adult-use cannabis taxes. If the weed industry is so profitable, why isn't it federally legal? Let's look at some of the states that have not yet passed legislature. The Florida marijuana amendment fell short of the 60% supermajority needed to approve constitutional amendments. It would have allowed recreational sales of marijuana to people over 21 from existing medical marijuana dispensaries, with the potential for the legislature to license additional retailers. The campaign was funded predominantly by Florida's largest medical marijuana operator, Trulieve, which had provided almost $145 million of the $153 million campaign through the end of October. The measure was opposed by the Florida Republican Party and Governor Ron DeSantis, who said it would reduce the quality of life by leaving a marijuana stench in the air. Measures to legalize recreational marijuana also were trailing in North Dakota and South Dakota. The election marks the third vote on the issue in both states. In Nebraska, voters approved a pair of measures to legalize medical marijuana and regulate the industry. In Massachusetts, voters were weighing a ballot measure that would legalize the possession and supervised use of natural psychedelics, including psilocybin mushrooms. It would be the third state to do so, following Oregon and Colorado. Indiana Republican leaders have expressed hesitation about legalizing medical marijuana in 2025, despite increasing public support. Governor Eric Holcomb and Senate President pro tempore Roderick Bray remain skeptical, citing the need for more research and federal approval. With regard to medical marijuana, it's no secret that I'm not for this, Indiana Senate President pro tem Roderick Bray said during the 2024 Denton's Legislative Conference earlier this month. I don't have people coming to me with really compelling medical cases as to why it's so beneficial. Heading into the election, 24 states and the District of Columbia, representing 53% of the nation's population, already had legalized marijuana for adults. A total of 38 states and the District of Columbia had laws allowing the medical use of marijuana. Possessing or selling marijuana remains a crime under federal law, punishable by prison time and fines. 2025 has some light on the horizon, though, with the prospect of the Drug Enforcement Administration's, DEA, rescheduling of cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. This month, Republicans will assume control of all three branches of government for the first time since 2017, the previous time Donald Trump took the oath of office. Many marijuana industry operators and investors openly believe Trump will be the most marijuana-friendly president in history. Trump's appointments so far don't suggest marijuana reform is at the top of his agenda. His Attorney General, pending confirmation by the U.S. Senate, will be Pam Bondi, a former Florida Attorney General who once signed off on a report suggesting marijuana leads to fentanyl use. Constitutional scholars say there isn't much more beyond administrative rescheduling that a president can do, but that's based on existing norms and understandings of the power of the office. If the president were to suddenly demand that House Speaker Mike Johnson schedule hearings for marijuana banking reform, Johnson would likely do it. But given the list of other pressing issues facing the Trump administration, such as fentanyl and the border crisis, some observers believe major action isn't going to happen until after the 2026 midterm elections. If we want to see a future where cannabis is legal, stand up for those still incarcerated for nonviolent cannabis offenses. Push for policies that prioritize equity and expungement. Contact your representatives and demand reform. Together, we can end prohibition and create a fairer future.